Well, I figure since we've been talking about all these DSA candidates across the country, might as well get to know these people a little bit better. Of America, our program, workers deserve more. Imagine taking a day off from work in a future without capitalism. It might not feel as badly needed as it does now. You enjoy your work, it's interesting to you, and you're well trained for it. You work as much as you were able and no more than needed. Well, I got a couple of questions there. Who decides how much you're able to work and who decides how much is needed? Since there's no longer an individual profit value in this supposition, what if I decide that I'm not able to work at all and everything that I just do in my regular life is all that is needed to provide me with, the necessities of a home and all the other things that one might need to survive? That was a rhetorical question. I know the answer. They'll beat you or put you in prison until you do what you're told. And you would control your own labor and see it going to good use. It's not just a job to pay bills. Well, they say you control your own labor and you see it put to good use. But again, everything is collectively controlled. What if I, as an individual, decide that I don't want to labor? Again, what are you going to do? Well, you're going to do the exact same thing that either capitalists do by letting those people be homeless, by not providing for them because they are not contributing, or you're going to beat them and put them in prisons until they do what they're told, or maybe just terminate them. That actually has been a common solution in socialist paradises. Speaking of bills, you don't really have them anymore. You have no debt, you don't need health insurance, you don't pay a mortgage or have a landlord because comfortable housing is a human right. Your retirement is publicly funded. Food, education, energy, medicine, and transportation aren't for-profit businesses. They are common goods and utilities. Now, to stupid people, all that sounds real nice, not having to worry about these regular life things that adults have to worry about, just having it taken care of by the government for you. But really what this means is government control over every aspect of your life. These are all familiar everyday activities a socialist day off could be like any good day now. But what if you were free to spend your time how you like without worrying about cost or dreading going back to work? What if you didn't have to think about paying rent or loans at the end of the month or saving for college or affordable groceries? What it also means is you will own nothing and you will be happy, which ironically is exactly what was said in a World Economic Forum article written by Ida something. Not that important either way. If you don't know who the World Economic Forum is, the WEF, they are an organization of oligarchs essentially that have sought world domination, manipulation for decades now. The exact oligarchs that these people, they say that they're fighting against are actually just a tool to strip us all of the individual ownership of our property and our lives. Okay, enough about bills. What do you do on your day off? Maybe in the morning you walk your kids to school, run errands, or go to a doctor's appointment. In the afternoon, you might play a sport, practice a new skill, read, plan a trip. In the evening, you could meet up with friends or family and eat together. Maybe go to the movies or down to the park. Well, that all sounds real nice, but what happens when an honest error or sheer incompetence causes a cascading failure in one of these necessary systems that people rely upon for survival because there is only one system? When a distributor or something goes down in our current system, because there are so many different distributors and so many different grocers, the system can alter its flow of goods and services. That's not something that is really reliable within a socialist or top-down single-controlled system. And we know this. We watched the Soviets cause mass starvation, and then we watched Mao cause a mass starvation because of the Great Leap Forward plan. He had these ideas, and since he was running the show, those ideas were implemented, and it caused tens of millions of people to slowly starve to death. And still, these people think they just didn't get it right. Let's run this theory one more time. 100+ million dead in the last century, but we're still not convinced this isn't the right way. It's really easy to say that's how things will be. Socialists, collectivists have always been good at painting a pretty picture, describing this paradise or utopia, which is in and of itself utterly impossible to achieve, unless, again, we were actually some sort of like collectivist species, a bunch of ants or bees, drones with no opinions and no individual will to execute in the world. or to, be offended by the world. We all have individual choice, and there's no way that you can make everyone happy. That is simply the way of things. But that's enough of about how, this entire idea violates human nature. I mean, you go watch The Matrix. They present that very idea, and it's the truth, because human nature is not all sunshine and rainbows. There is darkness to the light. But like I said, that's enough of the human nature aspect of it. Let's talk about the practicality of it. I know that at my job, on any given day, at least a quarter to a third of the workforce doesn't want to be there, would like to leave, and some number of people do leave early on a very regular basis, Not the same people necessarily every day, but I'm saying throughout the week, some people are going to leave early because they don't want to be there. So my question is, how do you sustain this socialist paradise when all of the systems that support these things, the park service or the cook at the restaurant, when these people don't reliably show up to work because they don't feel like they have to? Well, you're going to start assigning people, and you're going to start punishing people, and you're going to realize that, in fact, some sort of managerial individual is necessary to, I don't know, make the schedule, because God knows we couldn't possibly have a committee at every single job site, every single business, every single week, deciding who's going to work this schedule, who's going to be on that schedule. I mean, there's plenty of places that have set schedules that you sign up for at the beginning of the job. But places like, restaurants, bars, department stores, or I guess they would be like distribution depots under this system of governance, somebody needs to tell the people when to be there, so that you don't have too many people there, so that you have enough people there. And they'll realize this. And then they'll install, party officials that will tell you have to be here at this time for this long, and if you aren't, you will be punished in some way. Again, whether that be denied benefits and thus economically hurt, or put in prison. It's been said that it's easier to imagine the end of the world than it is to imagine the end of capitalism. But well, that's because it's true. The left is like to muddy the name of capitalism with corporatism and oligarchy and things like this, just in the same way they've tried to soften and change the meaning of words like fascism and socialism and communism. They manipulate language. It's just an inherent part of their ideology and the nature of people that believe in this sort of ideology. But at its root, the original founding doctrine of capitalism is simply the free exchange of ideas, goods, and services between consenting people. And because you cannot ever completely eliminate the self-intentioned will of individuals, there will always be secret trade. You see it still even in North Korea, the most despotic, tyrannical government on earth. Still, black markets flourish where either the state cannot see or through bribery of state officials. Capitalism is simply the free, unfettered interaction between consenting adults. And this is something that you cannot eliminate. And because socialism seeks to eliminate it, they ultimately always end up stacking bodies higher than you can possibly imagine. Just because it isn't easy to imagine now doesn't mean we shouldn't try to make it happen. One, that's all this is imagination, fantasy. Two, we don't need to imagine because we've already seen this theory play tested more than once. And three, we shouldn't try it again because every time we've seen this theory play tested, it's resulted in tens of millions of innocent deaths.